3410. This video is to orient you to the class, provide weekly expectations, and to go over the syllabus. What is expected of you is laid out in each week's module. So in week 1, you're quite busy. You have 3 quizzes to take. The first one is called Counting and Probability. That is based on your textbook material. You have a checkpoint for Proctorio, as all your exams are going to be through Proctorio. So that's just a checkpoint to have you set up Proctorio and so that you know how to use it. And then you have a syllabus quiz. Okay. In week 2, you have 2 quizzes. One is a review of calculus. The second one is on probability rules coming from your textbook. In week 3, things begin to stabilize, and you just have your quiz on your material. Just one quiz coming from your textbook material, and it's on discrete geometric and binomial distributions. Then you have your first exam in week 4. There's a practice exam. You can take this practice exam as many times as you want, record your highest score. Okay. And then after week 4, it goes back to just covering the material with quizzes on your textbook material. And it continues on in this way until your next exam. And that pretty much follows the outlook of the course all the way up until your final exam. Let me just view this as a student. Okay. And just say, for things like your quizzes, like perhaps in this discrete geometric binomial here, or in the probability rules here. I'll open it in a new tab. So this is what a typical quiz looks like that corresponds to material from the course textbook. You'll have these video lectures that you can go over, or you can read the corresponding text in your textbook in chapter 3. There's no time limit. You have 2 attempts, and it will average both attempts. So that's typical of your homework. For your exams, you have a single attempt. Okay. So if this begins, this is what your quizzes typically look like each week. Okay, you have the recordings here. You have optional textbook problems you can practice on. And it asks you to determine the probability of x equals 0, the one that's missing right here, and you're to select the best answer here. Okay. In this one, you're to calculate the expected value of x, that is the average value, and that's material you haven't yet come from, but you would just complete this quiz and read over the corresponding parts of your textbook. Okay. Let's go over the syllabus now. So, undoubtedly, as this is an online class, and you all have families and work lives and things, other obligations, the most common type of correspondence is via email. The most important thing when you email me is 2 things. First, just take a screenshot of the problem that you are having difficulty solving or want assistance with, as that will really help me a lot to know exactly what you're referring to, what problem you're stuck on. Okay. What you tried as a possible solution, it could be, an actual worked out solution or just some comments on what you think should be done. So that's somewhat less important. The other very important thing that is important are these 2 things. To put the class number and name, Math 3410 in the subject line, along with your name and even W number. Okay. You will need the textbook, Introduction to Probability and Statistics by Milton and Arnold. Okay. Um, the corresponding coverage in this course in terms of the objectives are listed here, and this corresponds to these chapters in your textbook. Okay. Homework is worth the equivalent of 2 exams. It's 30%, and I think it's the key to this course. Okay. Each exam is worth 15%. There's 3 exams. Your final is worth 25% of your final grade. Your exam dates, as this is an online class, and like I said, you all have other classes, your jobs, and families to attend to. There is a range for which you can take the exams. So these are the ranges, so everyone should be able to find a date that works for them in this range. Okay. All your exams are open book, but you're not allowed any notes. Okay. Each exam will have a review, but there is no review for the final. Okay. All of these exams will be using Proctorio. Okay. In terms of your final grade, they're calculated as follows. Okay. Then the last thing, just to be aware of, are 2 things. One is if you want to, try and improve your learning strategies or test-taking abilities, you can reach out to Brian Pilcher in the College of Science. And the last thing is just to try and act professionally in this class. Okay. Okay. Now that we've gone over the syllabus, and you can have this open while you take this quiz, there's a syllabus quiz. You have 2 attempts, and there's just a couple things I want to point out to you when you take quizzes. Sometimes quizzes will be multiple choice or multiple selection. If it's multiple selection, generally you'll be asked to select all problems or all solutions that apply. Be careful not to select an incorrect response, as those are worth negative points. So for instance, this is your syllabus quiz, and if for example I was to select this name for the instructor and this name, one of them is worth positive points, the other one is worth negative points. So be very careful. So here, you know, um, the wording of the question is very important here. It says select all that apply. So one thing that I should have mentioned in the syllabus is that if you happen to miss a date for your homework, you can still complete your homework, but there is a 5% late penalty per day for the late homework. Okay. Um, Homework counts 30% of your grade. Okay. And now let's select an incorrect answer. Let's select that one and just see what happens. Okay. And I'm going to submit this. Submit it anyway. I didn't do very well. Let's go down here. I got 0 out of 5 points here because I selected one correct answer and one incorrect answer. The incorrect answer cancels the points from the correct answer here. So be aware of that in this course. And when you're taking tests, when you're taking an exam, try not to select any incorrect answers. So here I only got 2.5 points out of 5. So both of these were correct, but this one's incorrect. So I got partial credit. If I hadn't selected this question here in red, I would have had full points, but because I selected an incorrect answer, I only got partial because this one's worth negative points, and that's how Canvas works. Okay. So, the weekly expectation here is just that you're going to fulfill what's outlined in each week's module here. So in week 1, you have quite a few things to do. You have to read from your textbook and take this quiz, get Proctorio set up, and then take a quiz on the syllabus. Okay, and what's expected to you is just what is in each week here. Okay, okay. Thank you very much. I'm excited to have you in Math 3410, and it is a pleasure. Thank you.